Hey, Dreamer here, and today we're going to be doing a video that I guess it talks about a discussion that has already been talked about before on the channel. It's going to be about Zenkai Awakenings, which is obviously really fun, but it's going to specifically go into who's going to be the Zenkai characters for Legends Festival 2024. Now, obviously, a lot of content creators have been leaning to this event almost happening. A lot of people are asking, did you summon on this banner, or are you saving for Legends Fest? Because as time progresses, the event obviously is going to get closer and closer. So here's my top 3 picks for the characters who I want to see get Zenkai Awakened for Legends Fest. Obviously, I don't really want to waste your time, so let's just jump right in. The most obvious pick, the first obvious pick would be Gogeta Blue, obviously, and you can actually click or tap, I guess, whichever device you're using, the top right corner of the screen right now, the iCard there. It's going to take you to the video that I made discussing this Gogeta's potential Zenkai, how I would kind of completely change the character, almost like a total overhaul, and it's kind of taking it a little too far if you compare it with the Zenkai Awakening system as is, but I think Gogeta definitely deserves it. Really hyped character and definitely has the ability to make the game crash when the Zenkai Awakening for him does drop. So that's obviously a pretty exciting topic, but I think it warrants a video on its own. I don't really want to go too deep into discussion there, but I do want to introduce like brand new mechanics, make the character like wholly new. So you can actually check the video there just to make sure that you don't miss out on that, because generally that's obviously everyone's first pick. But moving on to my second pick, it's actually going to go in order here. It's actually going to be Future Gohan. Now Future Gohan obviously has his own unique equipment already, so I think it's about time that he gets his Zenkai Awakening. He used to be very good, and a character who definitely aged very well. The character had a lot of defensive potential and was really annoying generally. He kind of played an important role in a meta where a lot of players actually had a lot of like offensive characters. Him being a defensive character to complement that really helped in the meta that he was in. And so let's just go right into his kit really quickly. I like this mechanic that he has that restores Vanishing Gauge. You can up this to 15% if you really want to. Don't even touch the blast because he doesn't really need that. This is not bad. 20% the damage inflicted for 15. I think that effect should just remain the same but make it uncancelable. And the art ceiling should also just be kept the same. There's really not much to change here. I think you can up this key on the green card to 70. Nullifies attribute downgrades for about 20 counts. I think that works, and probably make it uncancelable. I don't know if canceling actually works against effects like these, but just to make sure, I guess. And on top of that, reduces the next damage sustained by 30% and cannot be stacked. This applies until enemy combo is finished, which I think is fine. Like, it's an okay mechanic. That's definitely what you're working with Future Gohan. The birds are going nuts, by the way, this morning. But yeah, I mean, 30%, you can up that to like 35 or 40 to make him just that much more of a defensive god. And 20%, I think this can be up to 30% damage inflicted for 20 timer counts and make it uncancelable as well, just to compete with the current meta. And as with the ultimate arts, I think it should remain the same. I think you can up this to like 50 or 60%. The endurance nullification should be uncancelable, but keep it as is other than that. And additional 20% damage if own health is 50% or below. This is fine. I think plus 30%, you can kind of like switch around these, so maybe like 50-30 would make it actually 80%. So overall, I think that would make it much better, and this requirement works just fine. And just make sure that it's uncancelable. I think that's definitely a big weakness with these older characters, that a lot of their effects just get cancelled by the enemy's abilities, so it does make them a lot weaker in that sense. For the main ability, Resilient Warrior, I think this is fine. Draw the ultimate. 50 key I think is a little too small, so make it like 70. I think it's fine and works with the current standard. Minus 100% to enemy sustained damage cut, which I don't really like that it's only for 10 timer counts. Make it permanent if you really want to make him that strong. Either make him permanent or lengthen this like 30 timer counts and make it uncancelable. And steals enemy special move and special arts for 10 timer counts, that's fine. Just keep it as is, that's perfectly fine. Zenkai ability, I actually don't know. Let's think about this. I don't think Yellow Android Saga would really work. Yellow Sun Family I think is a bit overkill. Yellow Future, I like that. Either Yellow Future or Yellow Super Saiyan? I think that's... I don't know, actually. I don't think Sun Family really works. I mean, you could. Very much up in the air, but personally, I would actually give him Yellow Future. Just because, why not, I guess. Because he is Future Gohan, right? I guess that's a point to really remember. Moving on to how I'd rework the character's main ability. Right, first, not the main, sorry, unique abilities. This is obviously like really weak. 25% to damage inflicted by allies for 15 timer counts when he enters the battlefield, and 45% to damage inflicted. So basically, he's the type of character where you need to jump in several times just to make sure that he gets the maximum amount of buffs. This is fine, and I think you can up this to 30% for 20 timer counts, and this mechanic is also fine, but you can make it 50 and it should go up to 100%. I think that's much better. One extra card draw speed is perfectly fine. And drawing a special arts card when there's a defeated battle member, I think that should just be unlimited. And on top of that, I do think that nullifying unfavorable element factors is really strong. Having a limiter on it is fine. I think that makes it a bit more balanced, but make this a bit longer, like 20 or even 30 if you want to go like really hard on a Zenkai. Other than that, let's see here, nullifies enemies' blast arts attack when changing cover. Obviously, it's not the type of cover change that you can combo with, so hopefully if they do decide to Zenkai this character, I would like for the special cover change to have more effects, like maybe destroying all of the enemy's cards, reducing ki, sealing main ability, destroying Dragon Balls, that kind of thing. Generally, that's what makes a really strong character who can't really combo a special move into their cover change. And here he also gets additional damage for 20 timer counts when an enemy attack is over, and that's generally an exploit that a lot of people use in order to get really high damage from Gohan. So yeah, I mean, like, I think this is perfectly fine. We can make this make this like uncancelable, and the damage reduction, I don't know. I guess, I mean, we should just keep it as is. 30% is perfectly fine. And in terms of the endurance, you can make this go up to 45 or 50. Just to make, because like endurance isn't as strong as it once was. Now, I'd like to know your opinion on what his third and fourth unique ability should be. Let me know in the comment section down below on your own ideas, because I think I'm a bit pressed for time, so we can't really just go into like really deep discussion if we're going to make a compilation of these characters. But moving on to my second pick, it's actually going to be Revival Gohan from the BoJack movie. I think in terms of Zenkai ability, let's get it out of the way really quickly. I think he should be... not too sure. Maybe Purple Super Saiyan. I think that's fine. Purple Super Saiyan or Purple... I don't know. Sagas from the movie Z is now like its own tag. Because like there's an LBR going on that requires those characters. But generally, like, purple movies, I think should also work just fine. Like, it really depends on the meta at the time, but I think considering the fact that we just had a movies campaign, I think having a Sagas from the Movies character, a purple Sagas from the Movies character, Zenkai Buffer would make a lot of sense because it would apply to, what's his name again? Garlic Jr. and that one Crusher Core member. I don't actually remember his name. But overall, I don't think the pre-transformed version should be changed all that much. Deals major explode damage. I think should be up to massive, because even though it's like the pre-transformed version, I do think he still needs to be able to do damage, and he should probably get like extra special move damage as well, maybe like 50%. I think 50% is too much, maybe like 20%, I think that's enough. Firm Will, 20% to damage inflicted. This should restore ki and give him a card. This is definitely what it's missing, like 100%. As a stop time, that's 100% what you need. Hesitant Justice, draw a special arts, keep it as is. Restores ally and other than this character's health by 20%. Up it to 30, man. Like, nowadays, so many DPS characters are just out there doing so much damage, and healing is just really valuable overall. I think we don't really need to change all of these effects, especially because not only are they really high, they're also uncancelable. I think this special move damage should be given to allies instead of just himself, and the special move arts cost, I think, yeah, we can just keep that as is. Like, it's already perfect. A kind successor here. Revive with 70% health. I think it should be up to 80%. I don't know. Or keep it as is. That's also perfectly fine. And the following effects when battle starts, it's a joke. Like, what is this? Excuse me? There's no like additional damage, which is a joke. What the hell? I never actually bothered to read this Gohan's kit, but this sucks. This is horrible, actually. Wow. I can't. It's unbelievable that a character like this used to be meta. That's kind of crazy. He should get like damage, maybe like 50%. I think that's fine. Better than nothing, honestly, right? And the damage reduction should be higher. Like, I think 50% damage reduction is fine, just to make sure that it's gonna be a lot more difficult to penetrate this character and get him to the second form of his, second form after reviving, you know? I think the 50% ki recovery should just stay. It's perfectly fine. 20% to damage inflicted against powerful opponent, that's fine. 45% to damage inflicted from battle start until transformation, which is why maybe the damage buff shouldn't be that big. I think, I don't know, I think 50% should be fine, but I think 40 or 30 is much more balanced, especially when you're comparing it to this additional effect right here. and plus 15% to damage inflicted for 15 timer counts every time this character uses an arts card. I can kind of see like what they're going for, but I think 15% for 15 timer counts is already fine, and it not being cancelable, adding like additional damage at the start here is already going to supply him with enough damage. So nothing much there to change. His strike after transformation should give him blast armor, the blast shouldn't be changed at all, and as for the blue card, it should give him damage. Like, I think he needs, I don't know, like 20% special move damage is even enough to make him just hit a little harder, you know? The cover change nullification is really strong, I like it, and the same thing goes with the endurance nullification. That's just very basic stuff, so I think they should just make it uncancelable. On top of the special move damage buff as well, I think that would really make the character a lot stronger. And the knockback green card restores ki by 20 and 20% to damage inflicted for 15 timer counts. This should be uncancelable, and he should also get like an additional card, because ease of combo is such a huge part of the meta right now. So if he can get a card after knocking enemies back, I think that would make him really strong. And this key effect should be buffed to like 30 or 50 even. That's fine. Maybe 40 just to make sure that he doesn't just pop a blue card immediately, just to make it a bit more fair. But here the main ability is actually quite unique. He gets 70 ki, which is fine, 1 level of arts card draw speed for 30 timer counts, this should be uncancelable, and he destroys all of his cards and draws special move arts, and gets a buff depending on the number that the number of cards destroyed. And obviously this is where the majority of his damage is supposed to come from, 130% to special move damage inflicted, but I don't know, like, I guess relying on the main ability to actually do damage is just kind of weak. And it's only gonna activate once, right? Like, you can't have this effect activate constantly. So you have to make a decision when activating the main ability, which I guess makes the character a lot trickier. So maybe, I don't know, like 20% just makes him stronger. I don't think they should really change this part of the main ability, especially because the buffs are already like uncancelable, so there's not much to change there. Entrusted mission, 60% to damage inflicted. I don't know. Considering that he already has 50% from before, I guess maybe like 40% from before. Yeah, I guess this is fine. This is perfectly fine. -5 to strike and blast. I think this should be -7. I think that would be much better. And qualifies up normal conditions. This should also be like attribute downgrades. I think that would make him really strong. And this should just be like -50%. I think that's better. Plus 30% to damage inflicted. I think that's much more fair against tag powerful opponent. And randomly draw 1 new card when you have when this character enters the battlefield if you have 3 or fewer cards, which is a pretty strong effect. And I think it should just be kept as is. I think he should also restore ki on entry though. Like, that's a very staple thing that a lot of characters nowadays do have, and him not having it is a really big setback for the character. If any allies have been defeated, randomly drop 2 new cards instead. Which is like an okay effect, I guess. Like, that really does give him like a startup. It allows him to get a lot of cards when he first enters the battlefield, which is really good. It's obviously a matter of how well you can kind of wield the character's abilities. And applies the following effects to self every time this character uses an arts card: 25% to damage inflicted for 15 timer counts, 15 ki for activating 3 times, and the activation count actually resets when the characters switch, when this guy goes into standby basically. I think this should just be kept as is, and it not being cancelable is very balanced, so I like the way that it is as is. I don't really think there's much to change, but once again, let me know in the comment section down below what you think his 3rd and 4th unique abilities should give him. I think there has been like he's missing a lot of cover null here, so I think if he is to ever get a 3rd or 4th unique ability, he should get like cover null in a much easier way other than just his blue card. But moving on to the final character that I'm going to be talking about, it's actually going to be Tag, Goku, and Vegeta, the Super Saiyan Blue duo, the OGs. Because Tag characters have been in the game for a while, and I think they deserve to finally get like a Zenkai Awakening to see just how well they alter both sides of the characters with a Zenkai Awakening. So yeah, I mean, like, let's just jump right in. First of all, the strikes. Both for Goku and Vegeta, they need to have like blast armor. That's like very staple stuff. Cosmic Rush for Goku I think is already really strong because there's just this infinite vanishing gauge restoration on top of the 50% reduction to enemy sustained damage, got the damage reduction as well. Really strong stuff. I do think that it should, both of these effects, the endurance nullification and the damage reduction, ignoring damage reduction, it should both be an uncancelable effect. And Overflowing Valor, I think this is fine. Draw a special move arts card next. I think it should activate twice now, because the character is just so aged. He definitely needs like the extra special move, just to do more damage, I guess. And it allows him to stay in the battlefield longer because it gives him Vanishing Gauge once again. Reducing enemy ki by 40, restores own ki by 25, which sucks. It should just be 50. and randomly destroy one enemy card. Keep that as is, and this should be plus 20% to damage inflicted for 20 timer counts, cannot be cancelled. I think that's so much better for the character. What the hell are you waiting for? This is the tag switch from Goku to Vegeta. Reverses element factors, which is obviously a main part of the character. Restores health, I think this should be 20% and ki should be 50. Arts card draw speed should remain the same, but make it uncancelable, and special move damage inflicted should also be this should just be kept as is. You can bump it up to 50%, 15% or 20%, I think that'll be fine. And in terms of the Zenkai buff, now, obviously, this Goku and Vegeta share a lot of traits with Gohan from before, so probably I'm also going to make him a purple Sagas from the movies character. It depends on whoever they drop. If they drop Gohan as well as this Goku and Vegeta, then obviously that kind of changes. He would much rather be like a Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan or a God Ki Zenkai buffer, because, I mean, a purple Saiyan would do just fine, but I think Sagas from the movies fits the best for the character. So, yeah, I mean, like, okay, we've already gone for the cards and the switchability as well, already did this. Azure Guardians. Okay, this is the Goku side. 90% of damage inflicted, 50% strike damage, reduces damage received by 40%, which is a joke. Like, this should be at least 50. You could bump it up to 55 or 60. You know, I think that's definitely much more relevant in the current meta, and this is fine. Like, we don't really need to change all of that. Applies the following effects when you cause the character to revive. Steals to enemy Dragon Balls. It's not exactly stealing, but it's reducing enemy Dragon Balls and increasing your own Dragon Balls by 2. Which is really strong, but I think he should also get an additional buff. Maybe like extra card draw speed or ki recovery. I think that would be much better for Goku and Vegeta. I think that would generally make the character a lot stronger, and it would provide a bigger incentive to pop an enemy's revive. It's like an actually good revive disrupt, because this isn't all that strong, especially because some characters actually have Dragon Ball destruction immunity. Now, ultimate combination here. Reduces damage received by 20% until combo ends when changing cover, which sucks. It should be like 30%, maybe even 40%, I think that's fine. And evades enemies' attack if a cover change is performed against their blast attacks, which is basically like a kind of nullification. And because it's not comboable with a blue card, I do think that they need to make this cover change a lot stronger. Just provide like some kind of debuff to the enemy, like I said before with a future Gohan. I think it should like debuff the enemy in any kind of way, really, like increase special move damage received, destroy Dragon Balls, reduce ki, destroy cards, reduce Dragon Balls again. Like, I think that would make the character much better. And on top of that, he also has health restoration for using strikes and blasts, just like the average tag character would. On top of the -3 to own special move arts cost that stacks 5 times, which I guess is fine. We should just keep that as is, and the fact that it cannot be cancelled is already really good. And he also inflicts the enemies with +10 to damage received for 20 timer counts, which I guess should just be kept as is. You can bump this up to 15%, but I think that's about as far as it goes. And when he dodges, when Goku dodges, he gets a green card, and he shortens ally subcounts by 1. This should be shorten subcounts by 2 or 3. And this should also be it should activate once. I think that's fair. I think it should restore his ki though by like at least 30, maybe 40 if you really like this Goku. But generally, I don't really want to push it above that. I think this is already as good as it is. Moving on to the Vegeta side of it. So this is the switchability from Vegeta to Goku. Reverses zone element factors. This, once again, it should give him 20% health and like 50 ki. And everything else should just remain the same, because generally their switchabilities aren't all that different between the two characters. So there's really not much to change from what I discussed just now. Now, this effect is obviously a bit more different because Vegeta is more of a blast character, despite them obviously sharing the melee type category. But I do think that this is like perfectly fine. The damage reduction again should be increased to 50, 55, or 60%. That's definitely a lot more fair. And this higher reduction for blast starts is already perfect, so there's really not much to change. Like I said before, the disrupt should be altered as well to make it a lot stronger. And he obviously has a much better cover change compared to Goku's, because he can actually combo with the blue card, but in that sense, I don't really think there's much to change for the character. Once again, I do think this needs to be bumped to 30% or 40%, but that's about it. On top of that, he gets that 3% heal, 5 ki. Wait, what does Goku get again? That's actually different. He gets a cost reduction, okay. While Vegeta actually gets a ki recovery and extra ki. I do like that effect. Honestly, if they really want to make him that strong, they should just combine both of these pieces of text. So not only does he have the ability to reduce arts cost for the special move and inflict the enemy with additional damage received, but I think Vegeta having the ability to also restore ki and, buff his ki recovery up to 5 times to 100%. I do think that Goku should have that as well, just to make them a lot stronger. And I guess, while this character's on the battlefield, applies flying effects when enemy switches characters, so whenever they're faced with an enemy, basically. Draw a Blast Arts card next, and I think they should actually change that. That idea just popped into my head just now. They should change this text to whenever this character is faced with an enemy, because that's much stronger. That's not only them entering the battlefield, that's when the enemy switches, when the enemy experiences like force switching, that kind of thing. It'll still proc. The extra blast card is good, but I think the key should at least be 30 so you can actually fire the blast card. And honestly, if you really want to get creative, they should give him like card destruction immunity and Dragon Ball destruction immunity. Generally, that's what I think should be provided for the 3rd and 4th unique abilities for this Goku and Vegeta, because that's really what they're missing, right? They're not necessarily bad characters, it's just that they're very aged, and if they have a lot of these modern mechanics put into their kits, it'll definitely push them forward in the meta. So those are like one of the key aspects that I really want to see from them, like ki reduction immunity as well. But other than that, like, you can't really buff their you can buff their damage, obviously, but they get a lot of extra stats from just being Zenkai Awaken, so they're probably gonna hit pretty hard with this. You could give them special move damage, I think that's fair. Because, alright, with Vegeta's cards, I actually completely forgot to go here. With the strikes, once again, needs Blast Armor 100%, and the additional special move damage is fine, but I would like for... Actually, isn't this like exactly the same? Yes, it is, so just make all of these effects uncancelable, and I think... I don't know, I don't think Vegeta should have the ability to restore his Vanishing Gauge, but if they really want to make this Zenkai character viable, or really, really strong, really, really good Zenkai, I do think that they should do that, where they combine the texts of both of these characters, but you can make this buff for Vegeta like 50% special, maybe not 50%, 40% special move damage for 3 timer counts, make it uncancelable, whereas this Goku only gets like 20%, and make his Vanishing Gauge restoration only like 50% for Vegeta and 70% for Goku, just to make sure that there's also a shift between the characters. But a large portion of these should just remain the same. Bursting Brazen Power, I think it's perfectly fine. Once again, this limit should be raised to activates twice. Restores ki should be, it should restore 50 ki, obviously. 30% of damage inflicted for 20 timer counts, make it uncancelable. Or, yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's already perfect. And Cover Null for 15 timer counts. I'm pretty sure Goku doesn't actually have that, so he should probably have that as well, like Cover Null, because the character is kind of missing that, and only Vegeta having that on his green card is just really, really lacking for the character. And the minus 50% to health restoration is fine, so generally, it is kind of, I guess, counterproductive, or, it's really against the purpose of a tag character, but I would like for these guys to really have the other aspects of their buddy, their partner here. So Goku should take aspects from Vegeta's kit, and Vegeta should take aspects from Goku's kit, just to make sure that they're a lot more complete as a character, because nowadays the things that separate the two are needed consistently, whereas when you have only like cover change on one character, for example, right? That's generally like a massive weakness in the current meta, and if Goku could just have Cover Null, I think that would make both of these guys a lot, just generally like way stronger, because consistency is something that you really see in the current meta now with the tag, with the other tag twos, like here, both of these guys, this guy and this guy. Cover Null is just a basic thing that they have when they tag switch. So obviously I think the cover change nullification is something that it should be made more consistent with this character. But yeah, I think that's probably what this character is really missing, and if they had that, like, they would probably be stronger. So the nullification effects, like I said before, as well as the ability to nullify the enemy's special cover change. But like I said before, if you have any kind of like suggestions to see like how what needs to be changed for these characters, what needs to be added for the 3rd and 4th unique ability, let me know in the comment section down below, because if you've already used these characters a bunch of times, you generally have an experience and know their weaknesses and strengths, so that extra bit of insight could really help. Also, make sure to let me know down in the comment section below. And yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this video. Leave a like if you did enjoy, and leave a dislike if you really didn't. But make sure to tell me why in the comment section down below, because, hey, that's what the comment section's for. Also, don't forget to subscribe, because after this video, I'm going to be taking a bit of a break. And so, yeah, I think ideally, you're subscribed so that you're notified whenever I start posting again. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for this video. Bye, and thanks for watching.